This is the first topic of the Chapter 7, Electricity.
这是第7章的第一个主题，电力。
Electricity is a physical phenomenon associated with stationary and moving electric charges.
电力是关于正在静止和正在移动的电荷的物理现象。
Stationary charges are the charges that generated on non-conductive material and remain no moving.
静止的电荷是在非导电材料上产生的电荷，并保持不动。
The moving electric charges only occur on conductive material, and this moving charges will form an electric current.
移动电荷仅在导电材料发生，并且这些移动电荷将形成电流。
Before we proceed to the detail of electricity, let's first discuss about the energy.
在继续详细介绍电之前，让我们首先讨论一下能量。
In physics, energy is the quantitative property that must be transferred to an object in order to perform work on, or to heat the object.
在物理学中，要让物体进行工作或加热物体，能量是必须传递给物体的定量性质。
Another said is, energy is the capability to do work.
另一个说法是，能量是做事的能力。
Every living thing needs energy to carry out activities, such as plants need light energy from sun to carry out photosynthesis.
每个生物都需要能量来开展活动。例如，植物需要来自太阳的光能来进行光合作用。
Non-living thing needs energy to carry out work, such as a car needs fuel energy to move.
非生物需要能量来进行工作，例如，汽车需要燃料来移动。
Energy is the quantitative property that cannot be created, or it cannot be destroyed. But it can change from one form to another.
能量是无法创造或被破坏的定量属性，但能量可以从一种形式变为另一种形式。
This statement is the law of conservation of energy.
这陈述就是能量守恒定律。
They're the three keys properties of energy, for you to remember.
能量有3个关键属性，是您要记住的。
The first is, energy cannot be created.
第一是，能量是无法被凭空创造的。
The second is, energy cannot be destroyed.
第二是，能量是无法被摧毁的。
The third is, energy can change from one form to another.
第三是，能量可以从一种形式转变为另一种形式。
This example describes the law of conservation of energy.
这个例子描述了能量守恒定律。
Plants absorb light energy to perform photosynthesis.
植物吸收光能，进行光合作用。
Through the photosynthesis, the light energy, converted into chemical energy, and store the chemical energy as starch.
通过光合作用，光能转化为化学能，并将化学能存储为淀粉。
After the starch consumed by human, the chemical energy will convert into kinetic energy to move his body.
人类食用淀粉后，化学能将转化为动能，以移动他的身体。
Now, let's see the various forms of energy.
现在，让我们看看各种形式的能量。
Energy can exist in various form. The following are the examples of energy that existed in different form.
能量可以以各种形式存在。以下是能量以不同形式存在的事例。
And, based on the law of conservation of energy, these energy can change from one form to another.
以及根据能量守恒定律，这些能量可以从一种形式变为另一种形式。
The first example here is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy only existed on the moving object. The kinetic energy on the car is converted from the chemical energy that's stored in petrol. Those objects remain in idle, consists of no kinetic energy.
这里的第一个例子是动能。动能仅存在于正在运动的物体上。汽车上的动能是从汽油中存储的化学能转换而来的。那些停滞的物体没有动能。
The second form of energy is electrical energy. Electrical energy is existed on the flowing electrical charges when voltage supply is provided.
能量的第二种形式是电能。当电压被供应时，电能存在于流动的电荷上。
The situation on the image is the chemical energy that's stored in the battery, converted into electrical energy. That force the charge to flow through the light bulb. And, at the end, the electrical energy is converted into light energy in the light bulb.
图像上的情况是，电池中存储的化学能转化为电能，它迫使电荷流过灯泡，最后电能在灯泡中转化为光能。
Heat energy. Heat energy is existed on the hot object. At this case, the chemical energy being released from the wood and converted into heat energy.
热能。热能存在于热物体上，在这种情况下，化学能从木材中被释放出来，并转化为热能。
About the potential energy. Potential energy is existed and stored on an object due to its position.
关于势能，势能是由于物体的位置而存在，并存储在该物体上。
There are two common potential energy.
有二种常见的势能。
The first is gravitational potential energy. The gravitational potential energy is the energy origin from Earth gravity.
第一是重力势能。重力势能是地球重力产生的能量。
An object has the gravitational potential energy. It is due to its high position from the Earth's surface. The higher the object from the Earth's surface, the object possess more potential energy. When the object being released from that position, the gravitation potential energy reduces with its height from the Earth's surface. The loss of the potential energy from the object is converted into kinetic energy. At the moment, just before the object reached the surface of the Earth, the gravitational potential energy of the object becomes zero, and the object reached the maximum speed. At that position, the 100% gravitational potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. When the object reached the surface of the Earth, the velocity of the object changed from max to zero in a very short time. Kinetic energy of the object becomes zero, and fully converted to sound energy and heat energy. The energy conversion is from potential energy to kinetic energy, and eventually the sound energy.
物体具有重力势能，这是由它在地表上的高度位置而决定。物体离地球表面越高，该物体就拥有更多的势能。当物体从该位置被释放时，重力势能随着距地面的高度减小而减小。来自物体的势能会损失，损失的势能会转化为动能。在物体到达地球表面之前，物体的重力势能会变为零，并且物体达到最大速度。在该位置，重力势能100%转换为动能。当物体到达地球表面时，物体的速度在很短的时间内从最大值变为零，物体的动能同时会变为零，并完全转换为声能。能量转换来自势能到动能，最后是声能和热能。
Another type of potential energy is elastic potential energy. Elastic potential energy is energy stored, as a result of applying a force, to deform an elastic object, from its original shape. The elastic object, for example, the spring. When the spring is released, from the stretching, the spring will move back to its original shape of position. The spring will move back to its original shape of position. The energy conversion involves the elastic potential energy change to kinetic energy, and then kinetic energy to sound energy and heat energy.
势能的另一种类型是弹性势能。弹性势能是施加力使弹性物体从其原始形状变形而被存储的。弹性物体，例如弹簧。当弹簧从伸展状态被放开后，弹簧将回到其原始形状。能量转换涉及将弹性势能转换为动能、声能和热能。
About the nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is the energy that existed and stored in the nucleus of an atom. The nuclear energy of an atom can be released for our usage through the following process. Nuclear fission and fusion process.
关于核能，核能是存在和存储在原子核中的能量。原子的核能可以通过核裂变与聚变过程被释放。
About the nuclear fission process, at which the nucleus of an atom splits into two or more smaller nuclei as the fission products, and energy released as heat.
关于核裂变过程，原子核分裂为2个或更多个较小的核为裂变产物，同时能量以热量的形式被释放。
This nuclear fission principle being used in the traditional nuclear power plant, at which the heat released by the nuclear fission is used to heat up the water to be steam, and the steam produce a kinetic energy to move the generator turbine, and eventually electricity is generated.
该核裂变原理被用于传统的核电站。核裂变释放出的热量被用来加热水，并让水转换为水蒸气，以及蒸汽产生动能来移动发电机涡轮，最终发电。
About the nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion is a reaction at which two or more atomic nuclei are combined to form one or more different atomic nuclei.
关于核聚变，核聚变是将2个或多个原子核合并形成一个原子核或更多个不同的原子核的反应。
The energy that released from Sun is from the nuclear fusion of deuterium-tritium to form the helium, at which deuterium and tritium is the isotope of hydrogen.
太阳释放的能量来自氘与氚形成氦气的核聚变。氘与氚是氢气的同位素。
About the sound energy. Sound energy is energy produced by a vibrating object, it unable to travel through vacuum.
关于声能，声能是由振动物体产生的能量，它无法通过真空传播。
About the chemical energy. Chemical energy is the energy stored in substances that can undergo a chemical change. For example, food is the substance that store the chemical energy. Food will undergo a chemical reaction in our body, and energy being absorbed by our body.
关于化学能，化学能是存储在可以发生化学变化的物质中的能量。例如，食物是储存化学能的物质。食物会在我们体内发生化学反应，能量会被人体吸收。
About the light energy. Light energy is the energy emitted from a lit or shining object.
关于光能，光能是从被发亮的物体中发出的能量。
In this topic, let's check the sources of energy that used in our daily life.
在本主题中，让我们探查一下 日常生活中使用的能源。
Energy is derived from various sources. The energy here is referring to the electrical energy that we have using in our daily life.
能量它来自各种来源，这里的能量是指我们在日常生活中使用的电能。
And you must always remember that the sources that mentioned here. It is not about creating the energy, but is about to convert the energy from another form into electrical form. This is based on the law of conservation of energy.
您必须永远记住，这里提到的能源，不是要创造能量，而是要把能量从一种形式转换成电的形式。这是基于能量守恒定律而被进行的。
Why the energy need to be converted into electrical energy before delivered to consumer?
为什么在传递给消费者之前，需要将能量转换为电能呢？
Because electrical energy can be easily delivered to the consumer through the power grid.
因为电能可以很容易地通过电网传递给用户。
And it can easily be converted to any other form of energy through the electrical appliance. For example, converted to light and sound energy through the television. Converted to light energy through the light bulb. Converted to heat energy through the electrical oven. And converted to kinetic energy through the electrical blender and washing machine.
并且它可以通过电器轻松转换为任何其他形式的能量。例如，通过电视转换为光能和声能，通过灯泡转换为光能，通过电烤箱转化为热能，并通过电动搅拌机和洗衣机转化为动能。
The energy sources can be categorized as renewable and non-renewable energy sources.
能源可分为可再生能源和不可再生能源。
Renewable energy resources, which are naturally replenished on a time, such as water, sunlight, wind, rain, tides, and geothermal.
可再生能源是可以自然补充的能源，例如水、阳光、风、雨、潮汐和地热。
Non-renewable energy resources, like coal, nuclear, oil, and natural gas, are available in limited supplies.
不可再生能源，例如煤炭、核能、石油和天然气，数量有限。
The following are the examples of the renewable energy sources.
以下是可再生能源的事例。
Water is the source to hydro energy resource.
水是水能的来源。
Wind is the source to wind energy resource.
风是风能的来源。
Tides is the source to tidal energy resource.
潮汐是潮汐能的来源。
Internal heat of the earth is the source to geothermal energy resource.
地球内部的热量是地球热能的来源。
Biomass is waste material from plants or animals that is not used for food or feed. Biomass is the source to the biomass energy resource.
生物质能是植物或动物的废料，不用于食品或饲料。生物质能是生物质能源的来源。
The sun emits sunlight. It is the source to solar energy resource.
太阳散发出阳光，它是太阳能的来源。
These renewable energy sources will be detailed in the coming slide.
这些可再生能源将在下节中被详细介绍。
About the water as the source of hydro energy, at which a hydroelectric dam is built at the downstream of a river.
关于水作为水能的来源，在此水力发电大坝在河流下游被修建。
Dam on a river functions to store water in a reservoir, at which the water is with high potential energy.
河上的水坝起着将水储存在水库中的作用。 在此，水具有高势能，因为它位于较高的位置。
Water released from the reservoir will have high kinetic energy. This is about potential energy of water, converted to kinetic energy in water. And, when the fast-flowing water flow through the turbine, kinetic energy of the water transfers to the turbine, at which turbine will move fast.
从水库释放的水将具有高的动能，这是水的势能转换为水的动能的过程。当快速流动的水流过涡轮时，水的动能转移到涡轮，涡轮将在该处快速移动。
The moving turbine drives the generator that converts the kinetic energy into electrical energy.
移动的涡轮驱动发电机，于是将动能转换为电能。
About wind.
关于风
Wind is the flow of the air. The air particles in the wind have high kinetic energy.
风是空气的流动。风中的空气粒子具有很高的动能。
When wind flows through the blades of a rotor, wind rotates the blades of a rotor. This is about the kinetic energy of air particles transferring to the blade of the rotor.
当风流过转子的叶片时，风使转子的叶片旋转。这是将空气颗粒的动能转移到转子叶片的过程。
The rotor then drives a generator that converts the kinetic energy into electrical energy.
然后，转子驱动发电机，该发电机将动能转换为电能。
About tides.
关于潮汐
Tides, or waves, is the flow of seawater, which move upward and downward. At which, the seawater particles is with kinetic energy.
潮汐或波浪是向上和向下移动的海水流。海水粒子具有动能。
Waves then rotate the turbines. It is about the kinetic energy transfer from waves to turbines.
波浪然后使涡轮旋转，这是动能从波到涡轮的传递过程。
The moving turbines then drive a generator that converts the kinetic energy into electricity.
然后，运动中的涡轮驱动发电机，并将动能转化为电能。
About the internal heat of the Earth.
关于地球的内部热量
Geothermal energy is the heat from the interior of the Earth.
地热能是来自地球内部的热量。
Geothermal energy is used to heat water and produces steam. This is about to convert the heat energy to kinetic energy in water particles.
地热能被用于加热水并产生蒸汽。这将把水粒子中的热能转换成动能。
The steam can rotate the turbines. This is about the kinetic energy transfer from water particle to the turbines.
蒸汽它可以使涡轮旋转。这是从水粒子到涡轮机的动能传递过程。
The moving turbines drive a generator that converts the kinetic energy into electricity.
移动的涡轮驱动发电机，并将动能转化为电能。
About the biomass.
关于生物质能
Biomass is organic material that comes from plants and animals. Biomass contains stored energy from the sun.
生物质能是来自动植物的有机物质。生物质能包含来自太阳并被生物储存的能量。
Plants absorb the sun's energy in a process called photosynthesis.
植物通过光合作用的过程吸收太阳的能量。
When biomass is burned, water is heated and produce steam. At which, chemical energy converted into heat energy in first. And then, the heat energy is converted into kinetic energy in steam.
当生物质燃烧时，水被加热并产生蒸汽。首先，它将化学能转化为热能，然后在蒸汽中，热能被转化为动能。
Steam can rotate the turbines. at which kinetic energy of steam is transferred from steam into turbine. The turbine is then drives a generator that converts the kinetic energy into electricity.
蒸汽可使汽轮机旋转，从而将动能从蒸汽传到涡轮汽轮机处，然后涡轮驱动发电机将动能转化为电能。
About the sun.
关于太阳
Sun is the source of light that reaches the earth. Light is carrying solar energy and can be converted into electrical energy using solar cells.
太阳是到达地球的光的源头，光承载着太阳能，并且可以使用太阳能电板将它转换成电能。
The following are the example of non-renewable energy sources.
以下是不可再生能源的事例。
The first is fossil fuel.
第一是化石燃料。
The second is radioactive substances.
第二是放射性物质。
This is about the non-renewable energy sources, fossil fuel.
这是关于不可再生能源化石燃料。
Fossil fuels are formed over millions of years from the fossils, or remains of dead animals and plants that were buried under dirt and rock.
化石燃料它由数百万年的化石或埋在泥土和岩石下死去的动植物遗骸形成。
Heat from inside of the earth and pressure from dirt and rock changes these fossils into oil, natural gas, and coal.
来自地球内部的热量以及来自泥土和岩石的压力，将这些化石转变为石油、天然气和煤炭。
Fossil fuel is used to heat water and produce steam. This is about the chemical energy of the fossil fuel released into heat energy. When heat energy have heated up the water into steam. This is about convert the heat energy into kinetic energy. Steam can rotate the turbines. This is about to transfer the kinetic energy from steam to turbine. The turbines then drives a generator that converts the kinetic energy into electrical energy.
化石燃料用于加热水和产生蒸汽。这是关于化石燃料的化学能释放为热能的过程。当热能将水加热成蒸汽时，这是将热能转换成动能的过程。蒸汽可以使涡轮旋转，这将把动能从蒸汽传递到涡轮的过程。然后涡轮驱动发电机，它将动能转化为电能。
About the non-renewable energy source, radioactive substances.
关于不可再生能源放射性物质。
Radioactive substances, such as uranium, are unstable substance, at which their nuclear reactions will release nuclear energy as heat energy, at which nuclear energy is converted into the heat energy.
铀等放射性物质是不稳定的物质，它们的核反应将核能释放为热能，在此核能转化为热能。
The generated heat is used to heat up the water to be steam, at which heat energy is converted into kinetic energy in water particles.
产生的热量被用于将水加热成蒸汽，水粒子在此处将热能转换成动能。
Steam then drive the turbine. This is about the kinetic energy in the steam, converted to kinetic energy in turbine.
蒸汽然后驱动涡轮，这是蒸汽中的动能转递为涡轮动能的过程。
Then, turbine drives the generator.
然后涡轮驱动发电机。
Generator converts the kinetic energy into electrical energy.
发电机将动能转化为电能。